One thing that gets talked about a lot is good, strong sets to not only collect in, but invest in the long term. One set I've talked about a lot is Crown Zenith. Everything's going crazy with the Sword and Shield era, especially when it comes to sets with booster boxes. The Trainer Gallery sets, Fusion Strike, Chin Rain, and even Battle Styles is on the climb. But what about Crown Zenith? Now, I actually did a tier list a few months ago. I think it was about the end of last year. I went through these Sword and Shield era sets, and I genuinely rated Crown Zenith near the top. And not just for a product that's great to open, but I also believe that Crown Zenith is going to be a good set to invest in for the long term. Why? Because it has such amazing cards and has a great reception from collectors, right? From people like myself who want to crack open the packs and enjoy the set. It has some fan favorite cards in it, and it just performed, I think, incredibly well. And I think it's going to perform even better in the long run. However, things with Crown Zenith when it comes to the sealed product, so the ETBs and other collection boxes, haven't really been moving much, but the single card prices are starting to climb as well, along with all the other Sword and Shield era sets. So I'm going to go through today what has been going on with Crown Zenith and why do I think that Crown Zenith is one not to sleep on. Let's get into it. Okay, so have a quick look on TCG Player regarding the sealed product. We've got the Crown Zenith ETB. Now, this set has been heavily printed. You know, so there's one thing to keep an eye on. This set has been printed a fair amount. Right, I wouldn't say absolutely obliterated like shown in Fates, but there has been a lot of products around regarding the ETB and just Crown Zenith in general. And we're looking at $43 at the moment for an ETB. So as you can see, over the last 3 months, it hasn't really been doing much. We go back over the past year, and it is still nearly the lowest it's ever been, where it did have a spike and then it had a massive reprint, which then caused Crown Zenith to go down. Now, Crown Zenith is now over a year old. I think it came out in January 2023. So look, we're in May 2024. I don't think this has got much left of its life cycle before we might start seeing prices start to go up regarding Crown Zenith. Now, holiday sets at the moment, especially so far in the Sword and Shield era, haven't had the same boom as it were as booster boxes, as sets, main sets, right? They just haven't. The closest you could say to some degree would be something like Celebrations or even Champions Path, where the ETBs have gone up, you know, from that $40-50 mark, right? Celebrations ETBs are what, around 75-80, and then Champions Path is roughly the same, a little bit more. So they've gone up a little bit. You know, we're not talking about like Hidden Fates level where we're looking at, you know, 180 or whatever it is for an ETB, or like Shining Legends level, or, you know, Generations level. It hasn't, you know, not near that point, hasn't got to that point. I think it might take a while for it to get to that point. But, you know, one thing we were talking about recently is the power of 151, right? With 151 and Scarlet and Violet doing incredibly well, Crown Zenith is another set which everybody talks so highly about and continue to talk so highly about this set, even though there's just so much and the supply really did you know, keep up with demand, if I'm being honest. It, you know, had a really long release window and there was just a lot of products around. So that's one thing. So the, you know, sealed product, probably not so much. The Pokemon Center ETB is probably the strongest one to get right now, followed by the regular ETB. There's no booster bundles for this set. So yeah, I think for me that the ETB is a no-brainer in my opinion to pick up. It's at a reasonably cheap price. It's one of the lowest it's been since its release. You know, I kind of feel like you can't really, I say you can't really go wrong. We can, but the risk is a little bit lower when it comes to something like Crown Zenith, because, you know, you're looking at a booster box, we're talking, you know, 100 plus. This is around 40, 45, so not too bad. Okay, we moved across to Poke.io now, where we're going to be looking at the single card prices. Because things are going a bit crazy, and we're going to be finding out what the single card prices are raw and graded, right? Because as we've seen with Sword and Shield, things are going a little bit mental. They're on the uptick pretty fast, let's be honest. So give us a really interesting idea of what's going on in a set where the pull rates are incredible. It's not like these are like really difficult to get hold of. These were still tough, but nowhere near as tough as some of the alt arts we saw from other Sword and Shield era sets. Okay. So let's get into it. So apparently for an entire set, the total value is $782. That's actually quite interesting. I never really noticed that when I've been on air, but apparently that's the total value. I'm interested to see what Evolving Skies is. It's $782. So we take a look at the Giratina first. $98. This big boy has been climbing. okay, has been going up. Here we have the Giratina. So we're looking at eBay, $78. We've got TCG Player at 98.50. And then card market, which will be a little bit different because euros, but at 92. So PSA 10, we're looking at $186.99 with over 5,500 in a PSA 10. And as you can see, the green line here is the PSA 10 price. And this is over the past 6 months. So this card was dropping, right? Went down to about 130, 127 in a PSA 10. And currently we are sat at, as you can see, nearly 200. So it has been climbing over the past few months, which is actually pretty impressive. When we look at the raw card price, so we will remove the graded prices, so we can just look at what the raw price is. So we go raw, right? So we can see here that the raw price was fluctuating, you know, pretty steadily around that, hanging around that $60 to $65 mark. They got up to around about 70. Only recently it is starting to climb up and is reaching around about 70 to 80. If we go on the TCG player price, which is slightly higher, it is sat nearly around 100. So on TCG player was around that mid 60s and is also on the uptick. So the Giratina is climbing even in the PSA 10, which is actually quite impressive. Okay, moving on to the Arceus Gold V-Star. This is actually one of my favorite cards out of all the golds. This is my favorite. I don't know why, I just think the artwork looks amazing. We're looking at about 60 on TCG player, 55 on eBay. PSA 10 140 with 4,600 in a PSA 10. PSA 9 you're looking pretty much making even, but it's that 10, it's that juicy 10. So it was around 90, well around 100, sorry. Did drop around 94, and as you can see, over the last few months, it started to see that uptick. Now let's look at the raw card price. So raw card price is somewhat stable, unlike the Giratina. All the PSA 10 graded prices, either around $45 to $50, went up to like 55, and it's just very up and down, and even ending now at 55. So it's not been like insanely crazy compared to the Giratina, but still very, very strong. Then we've got the Mewtwo V-Star, one of my favorites. I actually do have this one in my collection. I pulled this one, I was really happy. And I wasn't too happy that it kept dropping in value, but it looks like it's on the uptick, so I'm looking to get mine graded. The raw, we're looking probably around $45 to $50. I don't know what's going on with the car market there, but PSA 10, 121, nearly 7,000 in a PSA 10. And as you can see from the graph here, PSA 10 about 95, and it's going up and up and up and up and up, and now we're seeing about 120. So it is on the uptick in the PSA 10. I better hurry up and get mine graded. Hopefully it does come back at 10. It comes back at 9, 50 odd dollars, basically breaking even, which would be harsh, to be perfectly honest. Raw card price, it was coming down, and it sat around that low 40s for the longest time, and that was what I pulled in. I was like, oh, bummer, right? And it's been sat around 44, 45, and it's pretty much stayed the same. Hasn't really moved in raw, but it has been going up in graded. Next up, we got the Origin Form Dialga coming in gold. I was around 40 here on eBay, 47 TCG, 49 on car market. We got about PSA 10, 106, not bad actually, 3,500, so a bit less than the others. As you can see, the PSA 10 price has actually been doing really well, right? Was around 75, 80, took the lowest dip at 72, and it's just been on an absolute rampage, going up and up and up, all the way to over 100. That's pretty good. Right, let's look at the raw card price, because I believe this has actually been going up. So yeah, we got here around 33 to 35, then it went up to like 40, and it's been fluctuating around and ending at around 40. So that's raw. And then on TCG player, I think it's a little bit more. As you can see, the climb on TCG player has been going up. The raw price is calculated like the average between like all three markets, whereas TCG player can be a little bit more easily manipulated. You always got to be careful, but around $32, and then on the uptick, and it's sitting at nearly 50. So as you can see, TCG player very different to the others, but Dialga doing pretty well. And then finally we have the Palkia, which we're going to be looking at today, which is the other gold V-Star, sitting at around $40-ish, you know, a little bit higher on card market, 115 in the PSA 10. Again, a lower pop than some of the others. And again, PSA 10, I think it's just the graded price are doing very well. 75, going up and up and up, and ending at over 115. So again, another great card to get graded right now. Raw price across the markets overall hasn't really been doing much. I mean, it's slowly been going up a little bit, right? It was in that low 30s, between 30 and 35, and it is ending on 40. So it has been going up across all three. If you look at specifically TCG player, it's been going up you know, a bit more, right? In that low 30s again, and ending around 42, 43. So yeah, Origin Form Palkia doing pretty well. So overall, Crown Zenith is doing pretty well, right? Even though it's pretty cheap to pick up right now, it just goes to show the power of just how strong the set is, right? These are the top 5 cards of the set. Of course, there are a bunch of other cards we didn't look at today, like all the legendary dogs. You got the Leafeon, the Glaceon, some absolutely beautiful cards. You got the secret rare Pikachu as well. Things are starting to move. PSA 10 prices are, even though there's a ton of them around, they are on the uptick. And Crown Zenith is a set actually at the moment, which isn't, I don't think many people are talking about it, because we've been talking alt arts, you know, Lost Origin, Fusion Strike, Evolving Skies, Chill and Rain, like it's just the same over and over again. And this is a prime example of a set which doesn't have alternate arts. It's also doing well. We look at some of the other sets like Vivid Voltage and Darts Ablaze, Rebel Clash and Sword and Shield Base, not really much is moving with them, but Crown Zenith goes to show how strong for a holiday set is doing. And this could give us an example, a little bit of light shining on it when we come to 151 in the future. I think 151 is stronger than Crown Zenith because of the nostalgia of Gen 1 and how strong this is, because the supply is still not reaching demand. But it will depend on the reprints when we come to 151. Crown Zenith has had a lot of printing and a lot of reprints already, and it's on its way out. I say it's on its way out, but it's been out over a year. It's been like, what, 15 months or more, 16 months or more since it's been out. It's going to be interesting moving forward how these card prices will go, because it's still in that Sword and Shield era, and everybody really loves Crown Zenith, and especially Sword and Shield, and those gold V-Stars are absolutely incredible. But regarding the sealed product, ETBs are very good right now. The Zacian and Zamazenta premium collection boxes are also pretty cheap. In my opinion, those are really good ones to get and keep sealed in your collection, and it's still one of the best sets to open as well. It's literally, it's got it all. This set really does have it all, so keep your eyes on it, guys. You know, with these single card prices, these PSA prices, and especially sealed product, things are getting a little bit more expensive over here in the UK, with ETBs slowly creeping up in price, not by a lot, maybe by about 5 to 10%, but they have been going up in price over here. So you've got to be aware over the next few months, because once it goes out of print, then we might start to see some gains. We might not, but I have a feeling that we will, just because of how strong the set will be. If you've made it far to the video, guys, and you've enjoyed it, make sure to smash the like button, make sure to subscribe for more Pokemon content, and let me know your thoughts down in the comments about Crown Zenith. Do you think this is going to be another good contender when we're talking about the Sword and Shield era? For me, I've rated Crown Zenith as a top 3 set, in my opinion. I think that you're going to have, you know, Evolving Skies at number 1, and potentially between Lost Origin and Fusion Strike for number 2, and then Crown Zenith. You know, if you had to include the holiday sets as well, then Crown Zenith I think would be number 3. But you know, if you had to include everything with Sword and Shield as a whole, but I think Crown Zenith is very, very strong. I also think it's pretty cheap right now to get ETBs, collection boxes, and to get hold of some of these cards, because as you can see, they are going up, especially the greater prices. But if you want to know what's going on regarding the trainer gallery cards, because things are going absolutely crazy, something a bit different than alt arts, then make sure to click the video on the screen. And if you want to watch more Pokemon content, guys, you know what to do. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Alright guys, that's it from me in today's video. Thank you so much for watching. As always, you guys are the legends, and I'll see you in the next one.